Hey guys, if you were on the live stream last week and the live stream this week, something is up with my sound. Supposedly there's a sound that's being heard in my house that is copyrighted. All I hear is an air conditioner, but if it comes in and the live stream gets cut off, I'm just going to upload this video, okay? Sound good? I'm going to upload this video if for some reason my computer picks up some copyrighted sound, which I think is just my air conditioner. But I'll keep going, and if not, look for the upload, okay? So, anyways, Samson's marriage is what we're talking about today. Not Delilah, but actually his marriage with a Philistine woman. Now, right now, the Philistines are ruling over the Israelites. And Samson's parents questioned Samson originally as to why is he choosing a Philistine wife over just a Israelite. But he convinced his parents that this is who he wants to marry. This is his decision. So Samson and his family go to meet his Philistine bride to be. Now we're gonna start in Judges 14, chapter 14, verse 5. And this is kind of the beginning of Samson as, strong Samson. So Samson went down to Timnah together with his father and mother. As they approached the vineyards of Timnah, suddenly a young lion came roaring towards him. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, so that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have torn a young goat. But he told neither his father nor mother what he had done. And then so his parents are with him, but they didn't see him do this. So Samson tears apart this young lion, who attacks him. Then, when we go to verse 8, sometime later, when he goes back to marry the woman he likes, he turned aside to look at the lion's carcass, and in it he saw a swarm of bees and some honey. He scooped out the honey with his hands and ate it as he went along. When he rejoined his parents, he gave them some, and they too ate it, but he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the lion's carcass. So he has this kind of miraculous thing happen, where there's lions and honey, and this is really key to the marriage that comes soon. So he has a feast, and he's getting married, and he has a feast with young Philistine men that are invited to the wedding. And in verse 12, he tells them a riddle. So Samson says, "Let me tell you a riddle. If you give me an answer within 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. If you can't tell me the answer, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes." "Tell us your riddle," they said. "Let's hear it." He replied, "Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet." And for 3 days they could not give him an answer. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, "Coax your husband into explaining the riddle for us, or we will burn you and your father's household to death. Did you invite us here to steal a property?" Then Samson's wife threw herself on him, sobbing, "You hate me. You don't really love me. You've given my people a riddle, and you haven't told me the answer." "I haven't even explained it to my father or mother," he replied. "So why should I explain it to you?" She cried for 7 whole days during the feast. So on the 7th day he finally told her, because she continued to press him. She in turn explained the riddle to her people. Before sunset on the 7th day, the men in town said to him, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Samson said to them, "If you had not plowed my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." And then he struck down the 30 men who challenged them, stripping everything, and gave their clothes to those who explained the riddle. Then he returned to his father's home, and Samson's wife was left alone. So the first part of our story is you have this marriage situation that happens, where Samson does a riddle. Now, he challenges these Philistine men, and we don't know why. Maybe it was just a game. Maybe he wanted to challenge them to see their intelligence, to show his intelligence. but he challenges these men, and something that happens not once but twice in Samson's stories, as we'll see later, is Samson's wife is convinced through through threat to get Samson to tell her what the answer is, so that the Philistines win. Now, Samson, because of this, chooses to leave his wife alone for a while. That she didn't believe, she trusted and bowed to the Philistines and helped the Philistines more so than her own husband. Now, this becomes a big issue when we hit chapter 15. So, something that happened in chapter 14 that comes up in chapter 15, when we look at verse 2 of chapter 15, Samson has gone back to his wife, is bringing her a goat, kind of like an apology, but more so that he wants to visit her because it's his wife. Now, his father refuses, and his father says, "I was so sure you hated her," he said, "that I gave her to your companion. Isn't her younger sister more attractive? Take her instead." So, his father, thinking that Samson gave up his wife, decided to not marry her anymore. Gave it to a Philistine man. Now, because of this, Samson believes that he has a right to defeat these Philistines. And he punishes the Philistines for taking his wife from him. Now, we get to chapter 6, we get to verse 6, where the Philistines are asking who did this, who burned their grains, defeated their animals. As punishment, that's what Samson did. And they were told that Samson, the Timnite, son-in-law, because his wife was given to his companion. That's who did it. So, the Philistines go and burn his wife and his father to death, which is what they had threatened to do when she was to give them the answer. And now they're going through with it even though she helped them. So Samson said to them, "Since you have acted like this, I swear I won't stop until I get my revenge on you." So he attacked them viciously and slaughtered many of them. So the Philistines are still ruling over the Israelites, and Samson has now made this huge issue arise because he, as an Israelite, has now attacked Philistine members. So the people of Judah come to Samson, and it says in verse 10, we're going to go verse 10 down. The people of Judah asked, "Why have you come to fight us? And we have come to take Samson prisoner," the Philistines are saying, "to do to him what he did for us." So the Philistines now are threatening the people of Judah. So 3,000 men from Judah went down to the cave in the rock of Etam, where Samson hid, and said to Samson, "Don't you realize that the Philistines are rulers over us? What have you done to us?" He answered, "I merely did to them what they did to me." They said to him, "We have come to tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines." Samson said, "Swear to me that you won't kill me yourselves." "Agreed," they answered. "We will only tie you up and hand you over to them. We will not kill you." So they bound him with 2 new ropes and led him up from the rocks. As he approached Lai, where the Philistines were camped, the Philistines came towards him, shouting. So the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. The ropes on his arms became like charred flax, and the bindings dropped from his hands. Finding a fresh jawbone of a donkey, he grabbed it and struck down 1,000 men. Then Samson said, "With a donkey's jawbone I have made donkeys of them. With a donkey's jawbone I have killed 1,000 men." So this is where we get the strong Samson, where Samson is known. He punishes the Philistines for harming his wife, his family. When they go to then threaten his people, he goes out and the Spirit of the Lord guides him to defeat these people who threaten to defeat the Philistines who threaten his people. And he does this, which this is why Samson was always known as such a strong man. He does this with the jawbone of a donkey. So just the bottom part of a jaw, which is miraculous in and of itself. So that is Samson for today. So Samson, we saw through his birth that he had this miraculous thing. He was going to lead the Lord's people. And he was raised in the Lord's ways. And now he has defeated these Philistines who threaten the Lord's people, but not because they threaten the Lord's people, but more so because they threatened his life and affected him. And we're going to see how the Philistines come after Samson in the next story because of his attack on the Philistines. On these 3,000 men he defeated with the jawbone. And we're going to see how Samson changes, because we see here that Samson, like many people, is kind of held in his anger that these people have done to him, held in this view of revenge, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, that sort of saying. And we're going to look and think about how, again, we're reading about the judges because the judges are people called by God to lead. And we are also called by God to lead in various ways. Now, again, we're not judges like these in the Bible. Most of us aren't leading armies or, killing people with jawbones. It's much more different, but we're looking at how the judges are a good representation, why we read them about in the Bible, how they're people, very misguided people that the Lord takes under his wing and guides them. And they have these faults and these doubts, but the Lord still uses them to show his will to the people. So here we see Samson's view on revenge and his anger. We know Gideon was very doubtful. Samson has this anger, and we'll see how the Lord guides him through this and how Samson has to work with the Lord in the future. So today was a very short day, but I hope you guys have a really good week. Next week we're going to be, I believe it's the last of our Samson, and then we're going to watch a movie the week after, okay? So I will see you all soon. Make sure you check out the other videos if you didn't get to check out last week's. It's there in upload. Check out the music. It's really good. It's really helpful. And check out the other videos. See you all soon. Bye.